lot of incomplete advice in the world today, especially from the highest of paid coaches and mentors. A big reason because they're actually not operators, right? And let me tell you what I mean by that. When a coach coaches an entrepreneur and the coach is not an operator, it is very hard for the coach to actually understand where that entrepreneur is in their career. So let me give you an example. One of the CEOs that I mentor used to work with a coach, and this coach, she told her, my client, that you should work on your most important task for 15 minutes every morning. So one of the CEOs that I mentor, my client, wanted to write this book. So her coach told her, hey, you should wake up and work on this book for 15 minutes a day, every single day, and in a year, you'll get this book done, right? Now, let's just assume that my client was the writing kind. Let's assume that she actually could write. Let's assume that she didn't have to do the book with any other source. Let's assume all of that. I actually think that's pretty good advice. I actually think that when you set aside a contiguous or consistent time block without having to burst of intensity, you can actually win with consistency. But the problem is, I knew, and I still know, that this entrepreneur can never do that. Most entrepreneurs cannot wake up and actually work 15 minutes a day every single day of the year. Like, that's not how entrepreneurs are wired. Like, that is the reason they are entrepreneurs, the reason they have that gene is because that is not how they're wired. And let me tell you why I know that. It's because I am that way. And I don't wear the entrepreneur as like a badge of honor, but it's a curse. It's just how you're wired. So you can't do a lot of consistent things. Like, entrepreneurs are built to work with like bursts of intensity. It's very hard for entrepreneurs to do stuff with cadence. It's just naturally very hard. That's why coaches and consultants who are a bunch of BS will force you to have accountability. They'll be like, call me and we will, we'll stay on it and we'll do it. And you have to call me, you have to report your numbers. All that is good. But an operator accountability is way better than a coach accountability. So let's go back to the problem. The problem is when this entrepreneur was trying to write a book, 15 minutes a day for a whole year, she gave up in 3 weeks. And she could never do it again. Now she has this mental block that 15-minute chunks are not powerful enough. But the problem was actually not waking up and working on the book for 15 minutes a day. The problem was that this big-time coach had no idea how to explain to an entrepreneur in an entrepreneur's way how to actually build and work on those 15 minutes. The problem was not working on it 15 minutes a day. The problem was how to set up the 15 minutes. Let me say it again. The problem was not working on it 15 minutes a day. That's not the problem. The problem is, what do I do in that 15 minutes? That's the problem for the entrepreneur. Because when you put an entrepreneur in a 15-minute block, the entrepreneur is in a box and they have to fight their way out of it. So here's what I did, right? The right way to coach that is to say, hey, Mr. Client, Miss Entrepreneur, over the next 12 months, we're going to bang out this book. We're going to build a great book. For the first month, for the first 15 minutes every single day, all you're going to do is you're going to plan. You're going to plan and sketch and draw and get stuff out. You're just going to plan what you're going to do when you write. You don't even have to write the book. I guarantee you, with your smarts, with your integrity, with your experience, with your ability to execute, you'll get it done. But that's the next 11 months. For the first month, all we're doing is planning. We're going to plan what you're going to do in each of these 15-minute chunks for the next 11 months. We're going to just plan what you're going to do. And every 30 days, we're going to take a few days, and then we're going to plan what we're going to do the next 30 days. I want you to sit down at your planning session, or at your writing session, your implementation session, and you already have the prompts, already have the outline, and you just get to work and work those 15 minutes. You're not planning and working, because planning and working are two completely different brain modality functions. It's very hard to strategically plan and tactically execute at the same time. If you do that, now the entrepreneur builds a plan, reduces their stress. So when they show up to work, and they do the first, second, third day of their 15 minutes of execution, they get an enormous amount of progress, they get an enormous amount of confidence, they get an enormous amount of swagger, they get a bounce in their step, and they believe they're on cloud 9 because they have done what they do best, which is execute with intensity. You have to set the entrepreneur up for success to execute with intensity. Teaching the entrepreneur discipline is not the right way. You have to fuel an entrepreneur's intensity. An entrepreneur has no problem working 24 hours a day because that's what he or she loves to do. But telling the entrepreneur to work 15 minutes a day every single day is mind-blowingly, super crucially hard for that person. So you have to create an environment where their core personality thrives inside the structure of discipline. And the only way for people to do that, right, is if you have an entrepreneur mentor. And I'm a big fan of coaching and mentoring, but I think that entrepreneurs need an entrepreneur mentor, someone who's been in their shoes, someone that's created businesses, someone that's living that life, someone that is burning with fuel and intensity, someone that can transfer his or her experiences. Like for my clients, I don't take on a lot of them, but I actually give them my playbooks. I give them my structure. I give them what I have figured out. I give them how I create content because I created in the same modality that they created in. And that's where the shift starts to happen. It's not about coaching the ideas. It is about the entrepreneur personality type is a really different one. And it is about actually backdooring into that so that they can see instant success right away. Entrepreneurs need very small shifts, but they need shifts in alignment with who they are. Otherwise, this stuff's going to break, right? The stuff that you and I talk about all the time, this stuff's going to break. And the average coach and mentor cannot do that. Entrepreneurs are a beast and a breed of their own. And they need to be celebrated for the intensity that they can bring to the table. The ideas and the intensity is what's going to drive everything. Cadence is good, but the ideas of, hey, work for 15 minutes a day and have this work for you is very hard for the entrepreneur personality type. In fact, it's hard for a lot of people because they're not born naturally wired with that kind of discipline. What they're wired is with the intensity and the passion for what they love, and we have to backdoor into that and ignite that, but giving them structure to accomplish something that they really, really feel good about. So planning is super important. I always say organization before execution. So teach the skill of planning and organization, and that will fire the purpose behind their passion and their execution.